The footage is striking. Mount Dukono on the northern tip of Halmahera Island in eastern Indonesia has been erupting almost continuously for 93 years. At 7:01 this morning, a white to gray ash column rose 1,500 meters above the summit. At 9:50, a second column rose 1,100 meters. 12 days ago, 3 hikers who entered the 4-kilometer exclusion zone around the Malupang Warirang crater did not come back. 190 eruption earthquakes in a single 24-hour window. The volcano remains at level 2 Waspada. Since March 30th, Dukono has averaged 95 eruptions per day. But here is the detail that tells the real story. The May 8 eruption that killed 3 hikers was not captured by a tourist with a phone. It was captured on a drone flown by Alex Janggu, a local Indonesian mountain guide. He flew the drone over the crater. His exact words to CNN were very scary. The crater was filled with volcanic material, which was not normal. He knew what Dukono looked like when something was wrong. And the people inside the zone, 20 climbers, 2 from Singapore, 1 Indonesian woman, looked at the smoking mountain and decided the photographs were worth the climb. They knew climbing was prohibited. Many, according to North Halmahera Police Chief Eruption Pasaribu, were driven by the desire to create online content. On May 8 at 7:41 in the morning, the mountain sent a 10-kilometer ash column into the sky. 3 of them did not come back. This is how Mount Dukono works. It has not paused since 1933. It just keeps erupting. Sometimes 1,000 meters of ash, sometimes 10,000. Sometimes it kills people. The volcano does not distinguish. Dukono is dangerous, not because it is silent, but because it is active so often that people may forget what active really means. The question is what it takes for a volcano that erupts 95 times in an average day to be taken seriously when most of those eruptions look the same as the one that killed 3 people. This is how it works. In late March, scientists at the Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation observed a significant increase in explosive magmatic eruptions, 200 eruptions since March 30th alone. On April 17th, the 4-kilometer zone around the Malupang Warirang crater was formally closed. On May 8th at 7:41, Dukono produced an ash column that climbed 10 km above the summit, recorded on seismographs for more than 16 minutes. Then today, at 7:01 on May 20, a new eruption reached 1,500 meters above the summit. At 9:50, a second eruption reached 1,100 meters. By the end of the day, 190 eruption earthquakes had been logged. 12 days after the deaths, the volcano did not change a thing. To understand why Mount Dukono keeps doing this, look at what is happening beneath the sea floor east of Halmahera. Indonesia sits at the convergence of 4 major tectonic plates. But Halmahera sits on something rarer, a double subduction zone. The Maluku sea plate is being subducted in 2 directions at once. The Philippine sea plate overrides it from the east, the Eurasian plate from the west. Very few places on Earth where this happens. When a plate descends into the mantle, it carries seawater. Pressure drives the water out, lowering the melting point of the surrounding mantle. The mantle melts. The melt rises and erupts where the crust is weakest. What makes Halmahera different is that both sides of the same plate are doing this at once. The magma supply is double-fed. Mount Dukono has been erupting almost continuously since 1933. Mount Ibu, less than 100 kilometers away on the same island, has been erupting continuously since April 2008. To understand why 3 hikers died on a mountain that was already closed, look at what happens to risk perception when a volcano erupts every day. Most volcanic disasters share one pattern. The volcano went through a period of unusual quiet, then changed. Pinatubo in 1991. Ontake in 2014. Mount Dukono does not work like that. It does not have a quiet phase to compare against. It erupts on Tuesday. It erupts on Wednesday. It erupts on the day 3 hikers die and 12 days later. Researchers in disaster psychology call this normalization of deviance, the slow erosion of safety thresholds when the dangerous condition becomes every day. Stromboli in Italy has erupted every 20 minutes for thousands of years, and tourists pay to watch from boats. Sakurajima in Japan erupts roughly 200 times per year, and Kagoshima conducts daily business under intermittent ash. For locals, the adaptation is necessary. For visitors, it is borrowed without context. A visitor sees a local guide on the crater rim. The guide is not afraid. The visitor concludes the mountain must not be dangerous. What the visitor does not see is the years of pattern recognition that tell the guide when to back away. May 8 is what happens when the gap closes wrong. A volcano that has erupted every day for 9 decades looks on a phone screen like a tourist destination. A 1,500-meter ash column makes spectacular footage. The crater rim at sunrise makes a perfect frame. The volcano did not punish them. It did what it had been doing for 93 years. A volcanic plume is not smoke. Nothing in it is burning. Magma depressurizes on its way to the surface. The dissolved gases come out of solution and expand violently, shattering the magma into particles. The plume carries 4 classes of material. Ash, particles less than 2 millimeters across, each a fragment of solidified volcanic glass. Inhaled in quantity, it abrades the lungs. Lapillian volcanic bombs, ballistic fragments up to meters in diameter, landing kilometers from the source. And volcanic gases. Carbon dioxide is heavier than air. It pools in low-lying areas where people walking through cannot tell they are running out of air. The May 20th plume at 1,500 meters is moderate by Dukono standards. The May 8th plume at 10,000 meters was not. Both contained the same material. From 20 kilometers away, a 1,500-meter column is a photograph. From inside the 4-kilometer exclusion zone, it is a cone of falling glass, rock, gas, and silence. The hikers who died on May 8 were inside that cone, and the volcano is still going. The 4-kilometer exclusion zone is still in effect. The volcano is still doing what it has done since 1933. The question is not whether Mount Dukono is active. It is. 2 eruptions before lunch on May 20. 190 earthquakes in the same 24 hours. The question is not whether a larger eruption is imminent. Indonesia's geological agency has not raised the alert level. The question is what it means when a volcano that erupts 95 times in an average day kills 3 people on May 8 and produces 190 more eruption earthquakes on May 20. The exclusion zone is the system trying to protect people from a mountain that does not stop long enough to safely approach. In 1,550, 476 years before May 8, Halmahera recorded a Dukono eruption powerful enough to cause death and destruction across the region. Another in 1901, each in a century when Halmahera held a fraction of the people who live there now. The volcano did not become more dangerous after 1933, it became more continuous. The danger did not increase. The exposure did. The villages grew. The flights became cheaper. The smartphones came. The drones came. The volcano did not change. The number of people standing close to it did. As of May 20, 2026, Mount Dukono is on its 93 consecutive year of activity. The morning produced 2 eruptions, 1,500 meters at 7:01 and 1,100 meters at 9:50. The 4-kilometer exclusion zone is in effect. 3 hikers died 12 days ago. The volcano has not changed. The next eruption has not been scheduled. The volcano does not schedule them. It just produces them. Sometimes 95 times a day. If this story is worth telling, subscribe. We cover more of these every week.